My name is Dan Young, and welcome to the Millionaire Code podcast. I'm a self-made guy that has made multi-million-dollar businesses from scratch. There's no way I could have done it without the help of mentors who provided me with the wisdom and guidance to help me create the formula for success. Each week on my podcast, I'm going to interview a hugely successful business person that will provide you their secrets to success, and that way can act as your mentor too. I can't wait to share their stories and takeaways with you. Welcome to Dan's Millionaire Code.
Hey everybody, Dan here with Dan's Millionaire Code, and today's guest is just phenomenal. Great friend of mine. But before I get into that, as you know, there is no fee, there is no charge, there's nothing you have to buy, there's no ad you need to click on this podcast. What I do is I bring in someone who's amazing, someone whose family or personally has built something just amazing that's making the world a better place. And that way they can virtually mentor you so you can be super successful. Today we're going to learn about the construction business because, as you guys know, construction is booming across the country. But a couple things I ask of you, a few things I ask of you. One, if you find this stuff effective, take copious notes, watch it over and over, and execute it. Don't just listen to it and forget about it. Do something about it. Second thing, share it with your friends and loved ones if you think they'll benefit. Third thing is take 10% of your financial gain from any knowledge you've learned here and give it to a great charity. I personally like Operation Underground Railroad, but pick a good charity you like or Operation Underground Railroad and give a little bit. It'll come back to you, I promise. All right, so today's guest is, we'll go by Mike Muhlestein. And let me tell you a little bit about him. He's a third generation, from a third generation construction family. And I'll let him get into the story of how that goes. It's called MGM Construction. It was actually founded in 1955. It's been around a long time. They've built thousands of projects and some pretty crazy ones too that he's going to share with you. I mean, crazy stuff. You're going to blow your mind. And he built them all over the western United States and actually even including Hawaii. So it's all over the United States. They built schools, libraries, courthouses, worked on stuff at the airports, prisons, police stations. A lot of really cool projects. And so he's going to share his fire of how his family got involved with that and how he's evolving it to the future. And that's the big thing because construction's been around a long time and he's got some pretty cool ideas that he's already executing now. And we met each other at Water Fusions. You guys know I hang out there once in a while.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. As you guys know, a few years ago I quit drinking. It's kind of funny because he has a very similar story about quitting drinking and how our energy levels went up and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll share some of that with you. But let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about your company. Tell us about it and how it got there and how you're evolving it to the next level for the future.
Yeah, so, I mean, thank you for having me on, by the way.
Oh, man.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
It's been really fun to kind of get to know you at Water Fusions. And, yeah, I mean, my grandpa really had no intention of starting a construction company. I think he just wanted to build a house for him and his wife, and they did that. And a lot of people liked his idea and design because it was a lot different from just the normal cookie-cutter house that you see a lot of the times. It was kind of being built in the 50s, 60s time frame throughout Salt Lake City. So he ended up buying some property and just ended up building a whole bunch of homes all over Foothill Village, up on the east side of the mountain up there.
Wow.
Yeah, and that went on for about 15-ish years, and he switched to commercial construction in the 70s, thought the profit margins are better.
Yeah.
I wanted to take a shot at it. You know, he was very much a go-getter, and that's what he did. In 1971, switched to commercial into a corporation, and that just went off. Just went everywhere. Went up to Idaho. Yeah, just went all the way to Nevada. A lot of projects over in Hawaii. Some pretty rad projects.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then your dad started running it, right?
Yeah, so my dad actually went to the University of Utah. He graduated in accounting, had no intention of even being in construction. And my grandpa asked him if he wanted to come and join the construction company and kind of be an accountant.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and at that point, he did that for a while until my grandpa, his main passion was golf.
Oh, yeah?
He loved golf. So he had a house in Palm Desert, and he basically would just take off there in the wintertime when it would get cold.
Wow.
And my dad just eventually started kind of running the company, and we had kind of a split off too. There was a couple other owners, and my grandpa bought them all out and kind of made it a father-son thing with my dad.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, so when did you get involved, man?
Because
you're not that old. You're a young dude.
Yeah, I was a little kid. I mean, my dad used to he had a little airplane. We used to fly around and go visit job sites. And, you just, and that was a lot of fun. As a little kid, feeling the turbulence like you feel like you're in a roller coaster all the time on the plane. And my mom was a little scared of it, but we used to travel around. So I kind of started seeing construction sites and learning a lot of 4-letter words, a lot of swear words as a little kid, kind of learning kind of the lingo of construction. And by the time I was 16 years old, my dad would give me opportunities to go onto job sites throughout the summertime. Most of the jobs were kind of prevailing wage, good money. And he was like giving me opportunity because our company, we're not just a regular general contractor. We're just operate the whole thing. We actually self-perform our own concrete. We do our own.
So you pouring concrete and stuff?
Yeah. So I learned how to pour concrete.
I mean, you roll your sleeves up.
Yeah.
So you're not just like a freaking boss. You're one who gets in the dirt too.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I think if you really, I think you can relate to this of starting your own company or being involved in it. You really need to know it from the ground up. And that's kind of what I did. I kind of went from that humble beginning. My older brother did the same thing, and my dad would give us these opportunities to go out to these job sites. And so I lived in Las Vegas for a summer. I lived in Wall-Weep, Arizona, like where Lake Powell is.
Oh, yeah.
So we built a fire station
cool.
there. So, after work, I'd just go jump in the lake and, take a shower.
That's cool.
And right. Yeah. So it was fun, like kind of getting to do that. It was hot, a lot of hard work, and kind of proving that I really don't want to, so to speak, do the labor aspect throughout my life. I kind of learned that quick. And so I ended up going to Weber State University into construction management.
Cool.
Which they have a great program. BYU does too, and Tempe down in Arizona, they have a great program. They teach you how to
just do the whole job, put it together?
Yeah, so Staker Parsons out of Salt Lake, they kind of run the program up at Weber State. And there's a lot of support with other general contractors throughout the state. They actually have like a 98% placement rate out of college to getting people involved in the construction industry.
It's a good business, right?
Yeah. And not so to speak of just like out doing labor, but like maybe being foremen or operators, or, learning how to be project management, estimating. They do it all.
So what do you recommend as far as like, people out there that have a knack for construction, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe they're actually doing a little bit, working somewhere. Should they continue to get that experience? Should they go straight to school? Should they do both? What's the deal?
So when I was actually up at Weber State, I was surprised by how many people were actually working full-time and in the construction field. Like they were framers or they were masons or they were, they had all these trades and they wanted to go to school to get that extra boost to be able to make them a better asset to their own company that they were working for. Maybe they wanted to start their own company.
Yeah.
And I definitely recommend school always. I feel like if you have the opportunity, take it.
Yeah.
And see what it can do. You never know, because I think, and kind of funny, most of the people I was in school with at Weber State, I'm still friends with to this day, and we actually see each other throughout different businesses, and they're working for subcontractors, so I kind of see them. Wow. So it's almost kind of like we're networking with each other. That's
cool.
Yeah.
On an entrepreneurial level, right? I mean, you're in charge of all these guys and things like that. Do they teach you that in school, like how to deal with the people, or is that more from you just working with the family or working,
I think it's a mix. I think I've seen kind of both of it. But I think they know. I think people really know if you're going to be a leader or not, and kind of like if you're, some people like to go home and only work the 8 to 5, and they're like, I go home, I have no responsibility, I can just do home life and personal life. Versus a lot of times when you're running your own business, you know how it is. Like you're running.
You're on, right?
Yeah, you're running. Wake up at 4 a.m. because somebody's car broke down, one of your workers, and needs help, or you got to catch a flight somewhere. Or
you have a wife and kids?
I do.
Cool. How old are your kids?
So I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and then almost 11-ish months old. Wow. So all boys.
So those of you that are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs or already are entrepreneurs, there's a little hack I wanted to share. Actually, I'll share it with you because your kids are little. I think we might have bumped into my son over there. He's like 23 now, right? And my daughter's 19. But there's a trick. So I was up with the family at Disneyland, right? Mm-hmm. We're standing in line for like a log ride or something. And the line is forever, right? And then I get this call, right? And it's one of my managers. She's like, holy crap, we got a fire, man. We got this big incident. Oh, someone crashed into our building, blah, blah, blah. And all that. There's like injuries. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's freaking horrible. I'm like, and so my wife's like looking at me, I'm looking at her. I'm like, hey kids, would you guys like ice cream? And they're like, well, yeah, Dad, but we're standing in line. I go, tell you what, I know you guys want some ice cream. I'm going to get some ice cream from the future, at Disneyland, those little ice cream things. And when you guys are done riding the log ride, okay, I'm feeling a little bit, like queasy. So when you're done riding the log ride, I'm going to have ice cream for everyone. They're like, you do that for us, Dad? Seriously? Like, you're not going to ride the ride, but I guess ice cream? I'm like, yeah, my wife's like. And so I stand in line with ice cream, handled the phone call, got the ice cream, kids came off the ride, I had ice cream for everybody. They're like, you're the best dad in the world. And then I solved my problem.
Right, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So that's how, like, one of the hacks, like, if you're 24/7, you can eloquently be able to take care of problems and situations and then give your family pure focus. Because after that, the day was cool.
Right.
I was able to ride Space Mountain and all that, Yeah, so that's...
Yeah, I get it. It's my father is a lot different than I am too. He's a lot of he's got some micromanaging issues.
Really?
He loves to kind of have full control, and I don't think it's a bad thing. It's been his positive where he's been able to build the company to where it's at now. But it's kind of where me and him see a little bit differently at times, where he's just like wants full control. And
was Grandpa like that?
No, my grandpa was very much like, he wanted to be on the golf course by 11 o'clock.
So you're like more like Dad or Grandpa?
I'm more like my grandpa.
Yeah?
And my middle name is his first name, so
okay.
And maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
But you get the stuff done.
Yeah, I think, and not saying I'm just trying to push it off on other people that I don't want to do the work, is I really try to utilize all the people that are around me as well.
That's smart, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you got them on staff, and they feel good when they're doing stuff.
Right.
So I'm going to shift gears to war stories and crazy projects. You told me about a crazy project. I don't want to spill the beans on it. But, tell us about that crazy thing that happened in Nevada, man. That's freaking crazy.
So, we did a lot of government work. Some of it's classified-ish stuff.
This one you can talk about without getting...
a little bit. I can kind of, it's kind of, it's prison work. So, you know how that is. It's a lot of, it's confined, a lot of, it's kind of wild, I guess. A lot of our workers that they have to go out there, they literally had to count everything that they brought onto the job site with them.
So you're building El Chapo proof?
Pretty much. Like if you have like literally listing it to the drywall screws. Like I'm bringing in 1,000 drywall screws, and if 3 of them break, they need to show that the 3 of them are broken. And so nothing can be left behind. Nothing can be...
Oh, weapons or...
Right, like a shank or, you don't want to be responsible for that type of stuff. So everything's brought in on a dolly port every day, and you're going through, guards, and you're dealing with people that are in a hallway where our remodel was next to where people are basically on death row.
Oh.
So our workers had to walk past that every single day and dealing with this
You see all the criminals?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they're like...
No, they're more like I had to go in there every other week and to the meetings and with government people, and most of it was just kind of empty.
No.
It felt eerie, and so does, and it kind of wild too. Our project it was right around Halloween time too, so that doesn't help dealing with like all the spooky stuff with Halloween stuff. And it finished on Halloween day too. So
holy crap.
Yeah, but basically we remodeled an area so they can be able to so Nevada can sustain their death penalty as well. So we did some stuff in there to kind of remodel it and redo it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
it's not electric chair anymore.
No. I mean,
so
it was pretty
you didn't have to wire like 480 volts or 400,
no.
Like a Tesla supercharger or something.
No, but we had double-sided glass, so mirrored glass, so you could see, where the lights kick on and it mirrors it. So kind of like.
Did they design it? Did your architect design that?
No, so the architect was out of I think they were from Central Nevada somewhere, and they ended up just doing the whole design, and we just provided the product to them.
That's a weirid design. You're like, honey, I'm designing this little place where
But in the name of it was just a renovation.
Was there a name for it?
I mean, it was just the renovation of the prison. They wanted to keep it kind of low key and stuff.
Okay.
But it's nothing out there and crazy. It's every prison has them, but we were just chosen to be able to build it.
And it's been used.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
I think so.
They still use that?
I think so. I mean, this is only like 3 or 4 years ago, so they switched locations from Carson City to there.
Dude.
So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dude. Wow. Okay, that's exciting. Any other crazy projects you guys work on you can talk about without going to...
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of crazy stuff that we do. We built the Boise State football stadium. That was kind of fun. The blue turf. There's a lot of, stuff where we've gotten letters in the mail from birds that have landed and hit into the, the turf because they think it's water. So they're like blaming the general contractor. Like it was our fault that we designed
It's like
that.
AstroTurfy.
Right. Just like silly stuff like that.
Ducks sitting...
Right. But, I mean, most of our stuff is pretty generic, though. We really do. Our real bread and butter is we love schoolwork. We do a lot of elementary schools, junior highs, college work. and airports.
Are you putting a lot more security now into schools?
Oh yeah,
Because like all this crazy stuff.
yeah. That's been like a big thing. All of the door systems and how their communication networking has changed a lot. So
Highly computerized.
yes.
Now are you doing some airport stuff or something? Wow.
Yeah. So
Talk about that.
we've done. So our most recent airport we did is down in Moab, Utah, and we you can fly commercially down there now.
Oh, that's cool.
And I guess Moab is the #1 tourist location for Europe.
Really?
The last 4 years in a row. It's kind
That's
of
cool.
wild, but the last few times I've been down
Utah.
there, I know, right? Bring on the. So bring on the revenue. So it's really kind of fun to see that and be part of that, and seeing. We did the whole thing where when the first airplane landed, they had the fire trucks out there with the water spewing over the.
How big of a plane can you land in Moab?
I think it's a 100-passenger plane right now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't fly directly from Salt Lake to there. You have to go through Denver right now.
Okay.
So eventually they're trying to make it so you can come through Salt Lake City. So.
All right. So since 1955, when Grandpa started to where you're running it today, what's the biggest, scariest challenge for your family like during that time? Do you ever have one where it's like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, so back in, I think everyone can kind of relate with this, and in 2008, the recession hit, and a lot, like at that time frame, we were completely maxed out of our, workload. We were just slammed. And I kept telling my dad, being young, and I'm just like, let's expand, let's grow, let's make this bigger. And my dad just kept saying, hold on, you've never been through a recession before. And I was pretty blown away of listening to kind of, sometimes you get kind of prideful and you don't want to listen to your dad and think that your dad's right all the time, but typically my dad's typically right all the time. He's got a lot of advice. So when that whole recession happened, I was very surprised of how much destruction it did to everybody. I mean, a lot of my dad's really close friends have been in the businesses for years. They had to close down.
Jeez.
And we were fortunate that we had a low overhead. And that's something I recommend for anybody trying to start up a company. It's not just as big as you can get as fast as you can. Go slow and try to eliminate having to go through debt. Paying cash, is obviously key if you can.
Yeah.
But being smart about it. And I think what our biggest lesson that we learned from going through that recession, which was terrible in the construction world, especially the bulk of our work was in Nevada, which even got hit harder than Utah.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was really bad.
It was bad.
Horrible.
Oh, it was terrible. But the nice thing was that we were able to see all these accounts that we had that maybe for rentals or just the most random stuff for propane tanks. And we were able to kind of take an inventory of how much money was going out of our pocket each month that we didn't really know where it was.
Oh.
So we were able to really tighten up ship. And at that point, it really kind of benefited us now because here we are 12 years later. Same situation. I mean, we're completely maxed out right now. But we took our same strategy we had of going through the recession and we're keeping kind of a better log of stuff that was just kind of blowing thousands of dollars a month on just stuff we had no idea what it even was.
That's smart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, talking to your dad, what does he think is going to be happening here? I mean, none of us know, but
we're definitely in a bubble. We're definitely in a bubble. I definitely think it's gonna hit. I don't think it'll be like 2008. I don't think we'll hit that hard again.
You think it's a good idea to maybe patent down the hatches as far as costs and
I think so.
get cash flow good,
Yeah.
have some spare ammunition for when it does adjust a little bit or whatever.
Absolutely. I think you're smart too if you can, really kind of eliminate some of that bottom line cost. It will really help you out at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this too because, I do the tech stuff and some real estate stuff and stocks and things. And there's a lot of really juicy projects that I could get involved with. But some of them, those projects that bring you right on the edge.
Right.
Those kind of make me a little bit nervous now because it doesn't leave a lot of ammunition if there's a big sale.
Right.
That happens. So maybe peck away at the small, medium ones that you can absorb. And if things went crap and it was vacant, you could survive a year or two of that, a couple of years of if it was horrible.
Yeah, and one of my dad's really close friends, he's a real estate, commercial real estate guy. And he, the nice thing is that he's been very conservative his entire life with his choice of property or buildings or whatever. And with that whole recession that happened, I mean, at that point, he cashed in because he was like, okay, I'm going to just go buy everything because he had the cash flow to do that.
Ooh, yeah.
And he was able to just snag up a lot of properties and he could hold on to it for 4 or 5 years and he is able to turn around those and make some pretty good money off of it. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's smart if you can go all that other end of it too.
But you also don't want to lose the opportunity, right?
Right.
So it's maybe just adjusting your allocation of risk, right?
Right.
Have a little bit less, so you have some powder dry pull the trigger, right?
Right. I mean, you just got to be smart about it because, I mean, listening to my own dad, I mean, he's been really smart with stock market. He's done his own investments as well with different businesses, and he's lost money. Obviously, he's gained money, but his losses have really kind of helped. I think anybody who goes through loss really understands why they did, hopefully.
Yeah.
Otherwise they won't learn and they'll be bankrupt pretty quick. But I think when you do lose something, I think if you can really kind of find out why you lost that and be able to turn around and make that a positive next time you get in that type of a situation. Maybe friends are trying to invest with you and you're like, nah, I've seen what you've done before. I don't know if I want to go with you right now.
Yeah, if they suck. What do they say? One of my old mentors told me, he says, you can tell a lot about somebody, especially with Google nowadays. Mm-hmm. If they leave success in their wake, it's probably a decent partner. If they've left destruction in their wake over and over and over and over again, and they haven't really done anything that's consistently been decent, you'd be really wary, right? Because you could get your butt kicked.
Yeah, you're gonna be with them too.
That sucks, huh?
Yeah.
Man, so let's totally shift gears here.
Okay.
Into this. Running a company is stressful, right? You got all these dudes in charge of these projects and all this stuff going on, and so let's talk about alcohol and recovery and some of those things.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share quickly with people like what happened and where you are today, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So, basically back in 2018, I caught myself into kind of a pretty weird situation where I wasn't really, my coping mechanisms weren't working very good. And I was getting, obviously, with stress with family life and then also dealing with business and then also dealing with business, family life, family business stuff, it's a little bit tricky. I definitely have always been kind of the person I'm always happy, but on the inside, a lot of times I really wasn't. And at that point, I was kind of feeling, I've always kind of gone at the extreme with most stuff I've done. I've usually gone full blown.
That's how a lot of us entrepreneurs
Absolutely,
are, right?
Yeah, I'm just like I started mountain bike racing. I did one, and like boom, I was doing like 3 a week.
Whoa!
And I was racing all over the nation doing stuff. But with alcohol, it was kind of the same thing. I just was like, oh, my tolerance is high, and having and justification with all of us. I think we all struggle with that of really kind of being honest and in our own denial. So I started pretty much daily drinking at nights, and eventually started to kind of pull me apart from my family and my relationship with that, and then also with business. I really kind of started seeing things kind of slipping through the cracks.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I've always been a type that I've always tried to maintain a good positive control over myself. And when I lose control of something, that's really when I start having more problems.
Oh, yes.
So I started drinking even heavier. And at that point, I sought help. I went to a doctor and asked him kind of advice and tips of how to wean myself off, and kind of still at that point I was still kind of in denial of how bad it really was, but I was drinking quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how'd you do? You went to rehab or something?
I did.
Like that?
Yeah. So in August of 2018, I decided to go into rehab and just do a 30-day treatment. And for anybody that's out there who can really, drugs, alcohol, any type of addiction, it's real. And I didn't ever think to myself that I'd be into a situation like rehab where you look at it as like failure, I just like a down look thing. And it's actually the opposite. I think anybody in any type of situation in their own life could really benefit from like a rehab. Not saying like everyone should just go, but I'm saying there's different methods that you can do and really, and they really kind of help sort myself out of really what I was dealing with in my own life.
So they help you a lot up here to figure
Absolutely.
it out.
I learned a lot of mindfulness and a lot of self-meditation and just being able to kind of get out of my own head. I think everyone struggles with that. They just want to sit, figure it out, and it's really hard.
That's why I see at Water Fusions and we're drinking the vitamin drinks, right? All day.
Right. I was just you asked me why do you like these? I'm like, it's better than drinking beer every day.
That's the same thing.
Yeah.
So what were some of the other benefits of, just quitting all that alcohol? Did you notice some big physical benefits too?
Oh, absolutely. For example, I love snow skiing. I grew up racing, and I go up there. But my mindset changed of going skiing because back when I was drinking, it was let's try to pack as many beers in your coat as you can and have it more like a fun day on the ski resort while you're drinking. And now it's really weird. My concept has changed where I'm going skiing to go skiing and having fun actually to skiing.
Enjoy the environment more, actually look at things and be like,
Right.
wow,
It's just like, this is nature. This is actually really cool. Like, I don't need alcohol to, like, maintain my fun. And I think the biggest problem that I was having was, like, every activity that I was doing, the source or the central part of that was alcohol. It was like, do you have alcohol before we go on this boating trip? Yes. Okay. Do you have food? Yes. Okay. Do you have a sleeping bag? Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it was like kind of the core, and I didn't like that. It's not, you know, for me.
Yeah, this is cool, man. So has your productivity gone up a lot with work?
Yeah, it has. So when I came out, like, I just literally, you know, and I'm happy that my dad, I'm in the family business. He clearly saw the writing on the wall, and he was just like, I think you should do this. It would be good for you. So I went, and I came back, and I just kind of was pretty refreshed, you know. And I actually did after that, I did 90 days of IOP as well.
Wow.
So at nights I would go to class and just learn more and keep learning how to be productive and being okay with how I was feeling. I think a lot of us struggle with that. It's real stuff, you know.
Yeah.
We kind of you do like a thing called the emotion of the day, just like how you're feeling, and being
That's
honest
right.
with it. You're just like, how you feeling today? Well, sad. Well, why are you feeling sad? Well, you know, you just kind of explain it and go through it, and kind of dealing that. I've kind of taken those same tools and I've used that into my family business that we're still doing. My dad's going to be retiring soon. And I feel like that has been a huge benefit in my productivity and I feel like I'm my old self again.
So you're ready to take over this whole thing? And
We'll see. I mean, my dad, he loves doing it, so eventually he will.
micromanage a little bit?
Yeah, he'll just kind of be there, but maybe we can kick him out of somewhere and, you know, give him his little place to do his own stuff where he feels productive.
cool.
But
All right, so let's summarize maybe a couple big chunks of wisdom. I want to take some notes too. What are a couple things or a few things that you would advise people out there that wanted to get into their own construction business, if they're just getting started? What are some hardcore tips these people can do?
So I think my biggest thing is my recommendation that I tried and that's worked with me and with my own employees is, number one, try to make yourself an asset. And I think that's like really down looked on, like or not really talked about as much. Maybe not so down looked on, but just not talked about. Mm-hmm. I feel like if you can honestly ask yourself at the end of the day of your work that you've done for the day, did I help my company, or like was I really kind of slacking off?
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like if you can have that type of level and you really can be an asset to your own company and you know, for your employee or employers, of teaching that to your employers. Like, that's what I tell my guys all the time. I'm like, the more stuff that you can do without having to call me, like on like a $200 purchase of a power washer that we might need for a job site. Yeah. It's like, did you really need to call me? You know, we know we need it. Just
you
go
need
get
one.
it.
That's what they cost.
Exactly. So it's if you can teach that type of level, you know, as a boss to your workers, I think it's very beneficial.
That's cool.
That's number one.
Okay.
That's what I've learned, and I found the most success from that.
Make yourself an asset. You know, are you helping or are you slacking off?
Right.
Got that one.
Yeah.
Okay. What's that second big powerhouse one? Boom.
I think a second one is being honest with yourself. And that kind of goes along with being an asset as well. But I think if you can be honest with yourself of your time management of your day and your time management of what you're expecting out of people, and it's realistic, and you are, you know, my dad always says that to me. He's like, are you being honest with you, like, with how you're doing, how you're handling your time? You know, sometimes some of the other workers are calling us. They're wondering if you're over here or there. Like, are you answering your phone all the time? You know, and I'm just like, I'm like, guilty, Dad. You know, I'll do better. You know, I don't. And it's nice to kind of have that, you know, at the end of the day as well. So
that's pretty cool, man. Let's talk about where people can find you. What's the name of your podcast?
So I have a podcast called Addicts in Recovery. I do it with a few different groups of people, and a lot of them have different addiction issues going on in their own lives, if it's drugs or alcohol or.
A lot of entrepreneurs suffer from those things. I did myself.
You'd be blown away. Like when I was actually in rehab, and obviously in rehab it's, you know, anonymous, but I was blown away by the people I met there from all over the world, all over the, you know, in some very, very high position things. And learning from them was like really cool to be like in the same room and kind of collectively talking with each other and kind of bouncing ideas off of them too. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So Addicts in Recovery podcast.
Mm-hmm. So AIR or AIR, you know, that's the acronym for it.
That's awesome.
So we usually do one a week, and we invite different people. This week we have one. We're going to be inviting an owner of a gym who struggles with painkillers for many years.
It's a big problem.
Big epidemic right now. So he decided to, once he became sober, and not doing drugs anymore, he ended up starting up a gym, and he brings people in that is struggling with sobriety issues, and he does a weekly gym,
That's huge.
workout stuff, and because he found that everyone has their own out.
Yeah, everyone self-medicates somehow.
Yeah, everyone does something, and so to be able to
pills, burgers, weed, whatever,
overeating, overspending,
something.
everyone has something. Just some are more looked at it than others.
That's cool. And then on social media, man, like if you're cool, then where can people find a couple things? Well, your construction company, and also where can they find you?
So, construction company is a little bit boring. I mean, just because I'm all stars. I mean, you can find us on the website. Or MGM Construction, and it's pretty easy.
It's a cool website. You got a lot of projects.
We got a lot of our projects all over the
MGM
Western
Construction,
Western United States, all over the place. And you can look at pictures, and also if you're needing a project done too. I mean, we travel all over the place and do projects for a lot of private people, not just public funded stuff too. All right. So that's that. But
what do people have questions for you?
Oh yeah, you can find me on Instagram. It's Mikey. That's my nickname. It's _ and then Mule, because my last name is so long, it's easier just to shorten it up. So
Mikey Mule _ Mule.
Yep, you can find me there, and also with Addicts Recovery, same thing. You can find it on Addicts Recovery. The logo is red. It says Air, and that's on Facebook and Instagram, and our platform with our podcast is on everything as well. Everywhere. So it's like iTunes, Spotify.
That's cool.
You name it. So.
All right, man. This is a lot of knowledge here, guys, and we've summarized a little bit. Watch it over and over.
Yeah, I know. This has been. I feel like it's been a lot too.
It's good though. This is great knowledge, though. Any last things you want to leave the viewers with?
No, I just enjoy wherever go into your passion. That's like my main thing. I think if you really ultimately, I read the statistic the other day that says like 80% of Americans hate their jobs. Wow. And it said 5% of them are unwilling to change, or all 5% of them are willing to change out of the 80.
Yeah.
So that's a big number. That's kind of scary to think that there's that many people out there in the nation, even in the world, that maybe are not enjoying what they're really doing.
Yeah, you can't be all miserable all day.
Yeah, maybe afraid. So I think that's one thing I've found is I've really found a passion in this. It's very rare to be able to say I can go to lunch with my dad and my older brother, who's one of our estimators at our company, every day. It's really fun.
That's cool.
So I think if you follow your passion, I think it will lead you into some good places.
That's good advice, brother.
Thank you, man.
Dude, thanks for coming on, man. This is fire. This is phenomenal. Guys and girls, I really appreciate you tuning in this week, being virtually mentored by Mike. And you can reach out to him if you have questions. If you have some addiction issues or anything like that a lot of us have, then it'd be really good to check out his podcast and hear some of his experiences. I think that'll resonate well with everybody out there. As you know, Dan's Millionaire Code has no sponsors or anything like that, and it's no charge to you. But what I ask again is that you execute the stuff that you learn here. Take an action towards that. Share with your friends and loved ones. And if you make more money because of the knowledge you've learned here, take 10% of that and give it to good charity.
Karma.
It's karma, yeah. So thanks again for being with us with that Dan's Millionaire Code. Next week, I have some crazy guests for you. But again, thanks again, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
For being on. I appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next week.